On the bill, Representative Markosik, followed by Representative Dunbar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, House Bill 1942 has been introduced by my very good and talented friend and neighbor from back home in Allegheny and Westmoreland County, the gentleman from Westmoreland. And normally he has done very well with drafting legislation. However, tonight I humbly stand to let him know some of the flaws in his own House Bill 1942. I would ask all of us to vote no. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative George Dunbar on House Bill 1942.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think last year's budgeting process was not one I don't think any of us want to revisit again. The problem last year is not only were we trying to balance our revenues and expenditures for 17-18, we also were faced with the problem of filling a pothole that existed when revenues didn't meet expectations in 16-17. And with all due respect to the minority chair, who is a good friend and a neighbor, and flattery will get you everywhere, Joe. I do appreciate the kind words. I'm not here to place blame. I'm not here to point fingers. We need to get away from all the rhetoric, and we truly need to begin the process of fixing a broken budgetary process that we have lived through. HB 1942 will do this. It very simply, as the minority chairman said, it very simply, if we do not meet our revenue expectations come December of our fiscal year, all we ask is that the governor put in budgetary reserve an equal amount. That we don't. If I go back to our budget debate of last year, the gentlelady from Montgomery County stood up and admonished us all. You can't spend what you don't have. This is all we're asking. If we're not meeting our budget, if we're not meeting our revenue projections, that we put money aside in budgetary reserves so we don't overspend. This is simply just a safety net. It's a tool to prevent us from doing the same mistakes over and over again that we've done in the past. It's an answer to a problem. And speaking of answers, I'll leave with a brief quote from John F. Kennedy. Let us not seek the Republican answer or the Democratic answer, but the right answer. Let us not seek to fix the blame for the past. Let us accept our own responsibility for the future. HB 1942 forces us to accept responsibility. I urge a yes vote. Thank you.
Okay, Representative George Dunbar.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Ryan. Very briefly, to answer some of the questions, this is not, I did not put this out as a solution to the problem. It is just a small piece to redo our budget system. Our budget system is broken. This and the other pieces of legislation we are offering are all parts to fix the problem. And for the concerns about situation where we may not be meeting our projected revenues, that's the whole idea behind the bill to begin with, is to have realistic revenues. I'm not, like I said, I'm not here to place blame. I'm here to find solutions to the problem. No one can ever estimate when we're going to have an economic downturn and maybe fall behind in revenues. But when we fall behind in revenues, we have to have a safety net in place so we do not spend money we do not have. Again, I ask for a yes vote. Thank you.
Representative Ryan, if you wish to speak, now's the time. All those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, nay. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? There's some members that have not yet voted. And the clerk will record the vote. The yeas are 116, the nays are 76. The bill passes on final passage of the bill. The majority required by the Constitution having voted in the affirmative, the bill passes finally, and the clerk will present the same to the Senate for concurrence.